Okay. Hi, I'm Brandy Schillace, and I have trouble making eye contact at the best of times, but it's particularly difficult because, again, the buttons aren't where I feel like we're in a good crowd, though, of people who get that that's a problem sometimes with the eye contact. I have a producer who does most of my filming, and this is one of his great complaints about me as a person is that I can't seem to make eye contact. My name is Brandy Schillace. I wear a lot of hats, literal hats. I actually have an entire closet full of hats. I am a researcher, a historian, a PhD. I was in academia. I absconded from academia and I worked in a medical history museum for a while. I am a freelance writer. I write for Wired and Wall Street Journal. I've written books. My most recent one came out last March and the paperback's out next week, called Mr. Humble and Dr. Butcher. I'm also the editor-in-chief of the British Medical Journal's Medical Humanities Journal, which we have chosen to use as a social justice platform. So it's medical humanities. We do a lot with LGBTQ and with disability studies and things like that, which are all sort of in my wheelhouse. But I didn't come here to talk about any of those things. I came here to talk about the fact that, about creating spaces that you can't find in the world. So I'm a writer. I write unusual nonfiction about weird science facts. My last book was about the first primate head transplant, successful primate head transplant. They took a head from one monkey and put it on the body of another monkey and it lived. But the book was really about the ethics of that, about transplant science, etc. And I was looking for a place to belong as an author. So that's how this begins, is me thinking, how come there's not like an Oprah's book club run by Morticia Addams, who was a scientist? Like, why, Mary Anning and Morticia Addams get together and they make a book club. That's what I want. And I couldn't find one. And so I decided to make one. And it's called the Peculiar Book Club. And I'll share the screen in a minute so that you can see what it's all about. But it became a show. So it started off as a club, and then now it's a twice monthly show. We've had authors like Mary Roach, Carl Zimmer, Lindsay Fitzharris, Deborah Blum, all kinds of, they come on and they talk to our audience live. And it's like a variety show, there's music. But that's not really, I didn't just want a place for authors. I wanted a place for, well, weird people. Our tagline is, if you're weird, you're family. And so it's this inclusive, safe space where we gather twice a month. And now there's a Discord server too. So we couldn't get enough of each other. So we have Facebook and Twitter and Discord, and then we meet twice a month. And what's really been amazing, and I think it's because if you yourself have spent a lot of time on the outside, without people giving you empathy, without people, you do all this hard work to try and meet people. I wrote an article called Coming Out Autistic for Scientific American, and in it, I said that the trouble is people think they're meeting you halfway, but you've come miles and miles to get there, to get to that place, because it's so much extra work. And I realized that in creating the Peculiar Book Club, I created a space that has become this very open, accessible place for people who are autistic, people who are trans, people with disabilities. We host a lot of authors. Actually, Eric Garcia, who wrote the book We're Not Broken, is in our next season. And so is Alice Wong, the disabled activist and also disability activist who did the Disability Visibility Project. So we have a lot of that kind of nexus. And it's because I think all I really want in life is to create families, right? I want to create safe, inclusive homes for other people like me because I didn't have them growing up. In addition to being autistic, I was not diagnosed autistic. So I was just that weird kid. Of course, it was very difficult with my family. My mother suffers from manic depression. My stepfather has post-traumatic stress disorder. Their lives were very busy. They didn't really have a lot of time and wavelength left over to worry about their very weird child who didn't seem to fit in particularly well. But that wasn't the only thing. My mother had been on the run from her first husband, my biological father. And so she was frightened to have me tested, partly because she changed my name twice, actually, along the way. So she just was so worried about what would happen, that she'd lose me, that she didn't take time. she didn't want to have me tested. So instead, I lived a life thinking I was just bad at being a human. And I remember feeling so left out of things, like constantly watching things and thinking you'd gotten it right and be like, I've got it this time, and then just be completely wrong and not know why and step on all these landmines. And I was told a lot of times that I was hard-hearted or that I was unfeeling, and it was almost the opposite. I'm incredibly feeling. I'm not good at articulating it sometimes. But I wanted to create a place where nobody would feel like someone didn't care about them and see them as having intrinsic value in all of their weirdness. And the truth of the matter is these places don't readily exist unless we make them. And so most of these endeavors are led by people like us, because who else will fight for us? Who else will do these things for us? So starved for empathy and understanding as a young person, I don't want any other young people to feel that way. So I created this place so that we could all join that. And it's been really great, particularly during the pandemic. I started it last May. How am I doing on time, Fergus? 1 minute left. Okay. I started it last May, and I'll just share my screen really quickly. I can show you kind of what it looks like. I created this. This is the website for us. This is off my main author website. If you're weird, you're family. We have events. We also have a mailing list and YouTube channel, but these are some of the authors that we had here. And the wonderful thing about it is you can go to the shows for free or by donation, or you can subscribe and join us. But to be honest, it's not about books. It's about creating a place for people who are weird and proud of it.